Absolute domination from Sean Strickland in this fight against Fluffy Hernandez this past weekend. Strickland never really looked out of control of the fight. And people were kind of thinking that it would be just a boring decision if Strickland won. It was actually a pretty entertaining fight. So this kind of got me thinking about underrated upcoming fights. So today I'm going to be giving you my top 5 underrated upcoming fights. And I'll kick it off with an honorable mention at UFC 327. We've got Dominic Reyes and Johnny Walker. You know, both of these guys are kind of on their decline and have had some pretty brutal knockouts recently. But that just kind of means that this will be an entertaining fight because you know one of these guys is going to go out. They both kind of die on their shield kind of thing, so I am very excited for this fight. Coming in at number 5 on this list, we've got Ethan Ewing versus Rafael Estevam. Ethan Ewing obviously is kind of well known now in the bantamweight division because he stepped up on 2 days' notice and beat one of the top prospects, Malcolm Wellmaker. Everyone was singing Wellmaker's praises, talking about how he's next up, he's going to be ranked soon. And then Ethan Ewing fought the weekend before UFC 322, won a title in a local promotion or defended one or the other, and then I got the call 2 days before UFC 322, or a couple days before, made weight, and fought the very next weekend and beat Malcolm Wellmaker. Rafael Estevam is obviously he's undefeated. He was a flyweight and he had some trouble making weight in the past. I think like 2 of his last 3 fights he couldn't make the flyweight 126 limit, and so he is moving up to bantamweight to fight Ethan Ewing. I think that this will be an absolute banger. I am very excited for this fight. Coming in at number 4, we've got Gregory Rodriguez versus Bruno Ferreira. This is a rematch. Ferreira stepped up on short notice in their first fight and knocked Gregory Rodriguez out in the first round. Now Rodriguez is a pretty big favorite. I think he's sitting at about minus 250. This one will just be fireworks. Both of these guys have insane power. Even for middleweights, these guys have just the touch of death. This should end very soon. I think it'll be a first, second round knockout. Neither of these guys really like to go to decision, so I'm very, very excited for this fight. Next up, we have this one is a main event, but I don't think it's getting talked about enough. Israel Adesanya versus Joe Pyfer. This one should be electric. We've got 2 really good strikers. One, Israel Adesanya, that is more known for finesse, and then Joe Pyfer, who's more known for power. Izzy is kind of getting up there in age. As you can see, he's 36 years old, but he has lost to only the elite in the division. They're giving him a much, much lower ranked guy in Joe Pyfer, who is outside of the top 10, sitting at about 15 or 14 on the rankings, depending where you look. We kind of just get the chance to see, is he still that dude, He's lost to Imavov. It was a clean right hand from Imavov, but it came after an eye poke, so there was a little, some people are putting an asterisk next to it. Pyfer, he's coming off a win, but you can't forget that he did lose to Hermanson. So this should be a very, very good fight. Will Pyfer come out and knock Izzy out in one of the first 3 rounds? Or will Izzy do what he does best and, just use his footwork and head movement and striking abilities to, point his way to a decision? Next up, we have, at number 2 on my list, Azamat Murzakanov versus Paulo Costa. Paulo Costa is moving up a weight class to light heavyweight 205, and his first task there is Azamat Murzakanov. Costa is coming off a win at middleweight against Roman Kopylov, where he was a pretty big underdog. But he showed out in that fight. And then you got to remember, too, Paulo Costa, he's really only lost to some of the best guys in the division. Lost to Whitaker, lost to Strickland, lost to Izzy, He's lost to really good guys. Murzakanov has not lost to anybody. He's coming off an insane knockout win. I am very excited for this fight. Number 1 on my list, Movsar Evloev versus Lerone Murphy. 2 guys that have not lost ever. There's some beef between these two, with Murphy posting on Twitter that he knocked out Evloev when they were training, all this stuff. Evloev has been pretty inactive. Murphy just knocked out Aaron Pico with that incredible spinning back elbow when he was an underdog for one of the first times in his career. Murphy had, a very impressive win over Edson Barbosa last year. So I'm excited for this fight. This is very clearly the number one contender fight. Whoever wins this will get a title shot. It's almost guaranteed. However, there are some insane situations that can happen. Like, imagine if there's a draw in this fight and then John Silva skips the line. Or if, Mavzar dominates for the first couple rounds, right? Gets an eye poke, so a point's taken away, and then Lerone Murphy dominates the last round 10-8, and it's a draw. And then all this, it's who gets the next title shot. Or if Mavzar just wins a very, very boring decision over Lerone Murphy, or vice versa, either or. One wins a very boring decision, then do you say, okay, well, John Silva just had this exciting fight. Should we get him in the title picture, Him and Volk would be a better matchup than either of these two guys if there is a boring fight. But you don't very often see in the UFC two, number one contenders fighting each other. Both of these guys could have they've got an argument as to why they should be next for the title. They both could have just sat out and waited, and they both probably would have got a title shot, but they, decided to put their pride aside and get in the cage. And so I am very, very excited for this fight. That is my top 5 list for upcoming underrated fights.